Okay, I have the stream working. Everything should work a-okay. I have calmed down off my high. Like the paint high is gone. I have eaten. I was able to go get some money out of the ATM. I'm fine. And it seems like Firefox or Google or YouTube, whichever one of the three, has decided to allow me to continue a stream. So I've made a new stream, and part two is probably going to be quite long because this is where the meat and potatoes of my actual criticisms for the movie kick in. So, where last we left off in The Last Jedi, and warnings, this is all spoilers. I'm not going to put up a fucking spoiler or anything for anybody who just hops in. I've only linked it to people who are actually going to listen to it right now. People should watch, if they're going to watch it, they should watch part one before two. So, spoilers. So, where we last left off, Snoke was killed by Kylo Ren. Rey was there with him, and he was supposed to kill her. Both of them team up and kill the red guards that protect Snoke. At the same time, pink-haired bitch of the Rebel Alliance or the Resistance decides, hey, I have a brain. I'm going to defend the escaped crafts, like the little escape pods that house the last of the Resistance against the First Order. I'm actually going to use my brain and defend them with the whole ship. And I'm going to ram into the fleet, the Imperial fleet that's following them. And at the same time, Finn and Rose are practically just, about to be executed at this point. DJ, who had helped them, was a turncoat. He was a traitor, turned him over for a big sum of money, and he just fucked off. So, what happens? Probably one of the coolest scenes in Star Wars. Pink haired bitch activates the hyperdrive. And we finally get to see what happened. We kind of saw it in Force Awakens with the weird tentacle monster when it was on the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. What happens when you're outside or when you're thrown into hyperspace, which is basically you get eviscerated into tiny little chunks and disintegrated. But now we get to see the outward appearance of what happens when you smash or collide into something when you go into hyperspace, when you use your hyperdrive and go into hyperspace. Pink-haired bitch activates the hyperdrive and eviscerates the fleet. Like a third of, she cuts right through the capital ship, like 1/3 of it. There's a giant white streak of light, while just there's like Star Destroyers are being cleaved in two. Snoke's ship is like one of the wings. It's like a wing shaped craft. Like half of one of the wings is where she strikes it, and it just tears the fucking thing open, which saves Finn and Rose's life because they were in a hangar, and so now the whole thing's just been destroyed. And yeah, uh, it completely flabbergasts Hux. Hux is sitting there, and he's like, "Look at her. She's no, one of his admirals or one of his subordinates is like, sir, the enemy ship is charging right towards us at ramming speed. And he's like, fuck that ship. The giant fuck off ship that, it's Star Wars. There's probably automated equipment that could fire the turbo lasers and stuff equipped on it. Yeah, I'm not going to deal with that threat coming towards us to fight because it's probably just all empty, even though it turned course. I'm going to shoot at the little lifeboats. And then this happens. And it's like, Hux is the most incompetent person in the First Order and the Galactic Empire. That is horrible character writing. Horrible. It's horrible. And so what happens? Rey gets away. Uh, Oh yeah, Rey gets away on the Millennium Falcon. Uh, Finn, BB-8, and Rose hijack an ATTE or an ATST. BB-8 did it, but he helps Rose and Finn get away. They get into an updated Lambda shuttle, and they fly down to the surface of the planet, the Rebel planet. Now that the Rebels have been able to escape with that diversion, but Phasma dies again. Phasma dies again. Because Phasma has, and you've seen the trailers, Finn fighting her with one of those stun baton staff things. Yeah, she gets, he gets knocked down of chasm, and we think, oh fuck, he's dead. And then he comes up in one of the turbo lifts, and he's like, hey. And she turns around, and he fucking strikes her in the face, and he breaks her visor so we can see like her one eye looking out. And they decide, hey, let's show this shot. And it's like, and the entire time I'm watching, I'm like, is that supposed to mean like she's vulnerable, she's afraid, she's angry, she's shocked? Like, is it to convey that she's a human underneath all this chrome armor? Like, and then she just, the floor beneath her collapses and she falls into a burning fiery pit of doom. Yay. That's the second time she's quote unquote died. Hopefully they don't bring the bitch back because she has no fucking character. To this day, I will fight everybody who is like, "Oh, Phasma was awesome," or "Oh, I can't wait to see Captain Phasma." It's like she's useless in both movies. What does she accomplish? Nothing. At least Hux in some fucking capacity in the first movie was intimidating at least. You could see him as the military arm of Snoke, and the force arm, or the arm that uses the force for Snoke, is Kylo in Force Awakens. In this one, it's just a hodgepodge. So those three get away. Rey and Chewie get away with the Porgs, and the rest of them land on there. And it's basically a mining build facility with a giant blast shield, like a giant steel slab of fucking door that closes. And so all the rebels have already come, and they start panicking, and they're like, close the blast door, close it now, because we see TIE fighters chasing after a shuttle. And it's Rose and BB-8 and Finn. And they crash just right before the doors close. They smash right into the door, and they scrape right underneath it, and the whole canopy for where the cockpit is gets ripped off, and everyone aims their guns or starts shooting them. And they're like, don't shoot, it's us. And so now they're stuck in a corner. All hope is lost. And yet somehow the First Order is able to land ATs at walkers. I don't care what they look like, and I don't care what their name is. It's like Mega Caliber 6 at walkers. They land them. And again, like in Empire Strikes Back, and you could possibly say Empire Strikes Back, like it's a plot hole as to why would you land your walkers so far away from the base and then have them walk all the way there. But like in this movie, it's even more fucking confusing because at least in Empire, you could make the argument, well, the rebels have been making this base for years now because Empire takes place a couple of years after A New Hope. And there's a lot of fucking rebels. Like they have X-wings and Y-wings and A-wings and snow speeders, and they have turrets lined up everywhere, and they have hundreds, if not thousands, of men lining trenches ready to defend the base. They're evacuating hundreds of ships. There's only like 30 rebels left at this point in the movie. There's only like 30 characters. You have Leia, Finn, Rose, BB-8, Poe, and some no-name characters. Oh, and C-3PO. C-3PO is like C-3PO has just gotten the shit end. Him and R2 have got the shit end of the stick in the last two movies, especially R2. Also, I forgot to mention this before. Another reason why, another thing that the real thing, that snapped Luke into actually training Rey was R2D2 playing Leia's hologram message from the first movie. And Luke even says that's a cheap trick to pull on me. And that's the last time we see R2D2. Because I don't remember R2 being in the rest of the fucking movie. R2 appeared in just that scene. If I'm thinking about it right fucking now, it's the only scene I can remember where I'm like, oh, R2's here. That's it. R2's in the movie for one fucking scene. One of the most iconic droid in the Star Wars franchise. R2D2 is in the movie for one scene. So, there's only 30 rebels. Why are you landing your attack fleet, your attack strength, your military might so far away? And so Poe stages a defense, a final stand, and they have these weird skimmer ships that are basically they're totally not snow speeders. And they start also they find out Finn sees a giant fuck all cannon being dragged on the planet's surface, and he's like, that's a laser ram. That's a laser ram. Are you fucking kidding me, Star Wars? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Not the entire fleet was hit by that fucking hyperspace jump. I saw it. I watched it. There were quite a few ships that were not hit by her jumping. Why not have them use their cannons? Why not use the batteries on the hulls of those star destroyers to bombard the fucking plating? It's plating. It's not shielded. It's not made of fucking Beskar iron or Mandalorian iron, the strongest metal in Star Wars. It's not made of fucking lightsaber. It's metal. It's just heavy plating. It used to be a mining colony. Fucking blast it out of the sky. And it's built into mountains. Blow up the fucking mountain range. You could do it with the fucking. You have a star destroyers and you have multiple star destroyers. Just keep bombarding them. Keep fucking perimeter around there with the AT-ATs you got and some stormtroopers. Keep them there and just blast it out of the sky. Here's the other and now that I'm realizing it, thinking about it, we never once see stormtroopers fighting. I didn't know. Yeah, there are no stormtroopers really fighting the main protagonist, barring BB-8. That's it. BB-8, when he takes the AT-ST, they start shooting at him. That's it. That's the only person they shoot at in the entire movie. Rey doesn't fight stormtroopers. Technically, Finn fights a stormtrooper, which is Phasma, but she's not a stormtrooper. She's a named character. Uh, Rose doesn't fight stormtroopers. Poe's not shooting at stormtroopers. None of the rebels are shooting at stormtroopers. They're all fighting. They're all shooting at giant mechs, or they're fighting fucking elite guards and shit. All we do is we see stormtroopers running around. That's it. But yeah, just station your troops around this fucking hole. Keep them at a safe distance so they don't get harmed by the bombardment, and bombard the fucking mountain range. Wipe them out. Just wipe them the fuck out. That's all you gotta do. That's all you have to fucking do in this goddamn movie. But they don't. And so Finn, Poe, Rose, and a bunch of no-name fucking rebels stage an assault on the laser ram. And they start charging towards it, and then TIE fighters start coming in and start shooting and blowing them up. and so they pull off their attack. And Finn's like, "No, I'm going to keep charging at it. I'm going to do a suicide run. I'm going to smash this into the ram, and once it's destroyed, they won't be able to take out the wall." And it's like, what if they have another one? Which raised another question in my head: why do they have a laser ram on the ship? It's a laser ram. It's specifically designed, from what Finn said, to bore holes in armor plating. Like, it's designed to break sieges. They didn't do a siege at the beginning of the movie. They just bombarded it from fucking space, from orbit, with a dreadnought. Why do they have a laser ram? Why do they need a laser ram? Why did they need a laser ram? But Rose in the last moment, right before Finn, and Finn's whole ship is melting because of the heat from the laser, because the laser's boring a hole through the thing. Uh, Rose smashes into fucking Poe's ship, and he's like, "Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? I was gonna save everybody." She goes, "We protect those that we love," and then she kisses him. No chemistry this entire movie. She's been harping on him on how cowardly he is, on how he doesn't want to fight, and how he's always trying to find an escape route. She falls in love with him. In 8 hours, she fell in love with him. And I know it was 8 hours because they were told, you have 8 hours to go to a casino planet to get a safe cracker and bring him back so we can do that plan, which is to sneak in and fucking disable their tracking device. In an 8 hour time span, she fell in love with Finn. So the laser ram win. So the Empire wins, or the First Order wins. They bore a hole through the fucking plating, blow a hole into it. All hope is lost. Leia's sitting there defeated. Everybody's looking all downtrodden, and in walks Luke. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, and I held on. I just held on to the armrests on my seat. I'm like, oh, Luke's here. Because at some point during the movie, while Rey's following Luke, she looks down at one of the fucking portions of the coast, and you can see Luke's X-wing was submerged in water, and they showed that. And so when Luke comes in, walking in, and he has his hair cut and his beard trimmed, and he's in his black fucking Jedi robes, and he's got a lightsaber on his fucking belt, I'm like, Luke finally turned. Yoda's little speech about failure and how, like, he needs to live in the now instead of looking at all the awful shit that happens. Like, Luke got his head out of his ass and said, you know what? Fuck this. Used the Force, pulled his X-wing out of the fucking ocean, hopped in, hopped into the X-wing, and flew to the planet using the Force or something. Because he had reached out to Leia or something. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Oh, I can't fucking wait. I can't wait. Oh, oh man, Luke's gonna be fucking awesome in this. Luke is gonna be amazing in this fucking scene. I can't wait. I cannot wait. And then he sits down next to Leia, and they have and I'll say this: the part where Luke is talking to Leia is great. It is. It's one of the best parts. Like, Mark Hamill stole the movie. Like, he is the movie. Like, he steals it utterly. And so with him sitting there, give me a second. And so Luke's sitting there with Leia, and he's like, Leia. And she's like, I know. I got my hair done. And he's like, it looks good on you. And they start having a heartfelt talk. And she tells him, like, I lost my son. And Luke tells her, like, there's no way I can save him. Like, even if I tried, there's no way to redeem your son. And she's like, I know. And like she accepts the fact that Kylo Ren is irredeemable. Like, he can't be saved. So Luke hands her old dice from the beginning of the movie from the Millennium Falcon, which were Han's. And this re-sparks hope in all of them. And they start trying to find an exit to the caverns, like a back door. They're going to try and find a way out. And Luke, just badass, God, like, he just fucking strolls out like a pimp with his fucking cloak. And as soon as he walks out onto that fucking, also we find out that it's a salt bed, by the way. It's not snow. Like, I don't know why anybody would even think that, because one of the rebels was on the trench and he was staring down the fucking his barrel, and he puts his hand on the fucking ground and he grabs it. He's like, it's salt. It's like, yeah, it's fucking salt. It looks hot as balls. You can tell that it's a dry salt, like a salt bed. The fuck? But Luke comes strolling through, walks right out, and he's standing there all confident and shit. And immediately, because Kylo Ren and Hux are floating in Kylo Ren's personal ship above all the AT-ATs, as soon as Kylo sees him, he's like, I want every gun that we have on the ground pointed at that fucker. Fire everything you have at him. And so every AT-AT and ATST just opens up on Luke. Just chunks of fucking dirt and sand and salt, just everything, fucking smoke, big explosion. Like, they are using everything in their arsenal to try and kill Luke. And it's like something out of Dragon Ball Z. It really is. That's how I feel about it. Like I saw it and I was like, oh, this is just like Dragon Ball Z, where like the hero or villain just starts shooting a bunch of ki blasts and it creates smoke, and then the smoke's going to dissipate, and the hero or villain's just going to be standing there. And sure enough, there's Luke standing there, and he just wipes off some dust off his shoulder. Unfazed, absolutely unfazed, and he keeps walking. And so Kylo's like, fuck this, I'm going down to face him one-on-one. And so Kylo comes out, and they start having their own banter. He ignites his lightsaber, and Luke ignites his. And they just start staring each other off. And fucking Luke just starts. Oh, he dodges every hit Kylo's trying to get on him. Like, he does a fucking limbo bend. Like, he bends on his fucking knees, and you see the Kylo's saber just go right past him, barely, almost touches his fucking nose by like a millimeter. And then he fucking does his badass force dodge where Kylo tries to go back on the fucking back cut, and Luke just dodges it. And Luke hits him with probably not even a lightsaber could cut this deep to Kylo. He goes, strike me down with all of your anger, and I'll always be with you, like your father. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, wow, damn, that fucking stung. That must piss him off something fierce. And it does. And it does. Because Kylo just charges in full force and swipes at Luke. And as soon as that happens, as soon as I saw that Luke disengaged his lightsaber, I was like, they're going to pull an Obi-Wan on him. They're going to pull an Obi-Wan on him. He's just going to become one with the Force like Obi-Wan. And fucking Kylo swings, fucking hits him right in the waist, and he just stands there. And he turns around, and Luke just turns right around. And so Kylo walks up to him and stabs him, and come to find out, it's an illusion. This whole fight was one man attacking a fucking ghost. and we find out that Luke is astral projecting through the Force from Octo. He kept to. I will say this. I'll give Luke this. He kept with his promise. He wasn't leaving that fucking planet. He was gonna die on that planet because he didn't go to fight in person. No, 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 no. He'll just astral project. And the whole point of what Luke was doing is to stall so that the rebels could find an exit, which they do because of the crystal foxes. Because the crystal foxes were just always walking around, and you just noticed like, oh hey, there's a crystal fox. And then Poe's like, where are all the foxes? And then they see one running down a tunnel, and so they follow him. And then Rey came into the fight when the TIE fighters came in, and she drew off all the fire from the TIE fighters. And so she blew them all, her and Chewie blew them up. And so she finds this tunnel opening and she lifts them all. And the rebels are behind there. And so they all get onto the ship. So there's so many, there are enough rebels to fill the Millennium Falcon cozily, I might add. And they all fly off. And then Luke fades in front of Kylo. And then we cut back to Octo, where Luke is sitting on that precipice where he had Rey training, and he dies. Luke sees the setting sun, the twin setting suns of Octo, and he smiles while the fucking one of the most iconic themes of Star Wars is playing, and he fades into the Force. Are you kidding me, movie? Are you kidding me, movie? I waited 2 fucking years. I waited 2 fucking years to watch Luke do something, and all he did was grumble about how cranky he was, acted like an asshole, then came back as a Force ghost, and then he dies. He doesn't even face down Snoke. He doesn't face down Kylo in person. Nothing. And so Kylo's pissed off. He goes back to his ship. All the First Order leave, and they go off to their own thing. And fucking Leia, Han, no, Leia, Chewie, Finn, Rose, Poe, and Rey fly off. And Rey's just sitting there holding the broken parts of Luke slash Anakin's lightsaber, the Skywalker saber, and goes, "What do we do now?" And Leia's just holds her and she goes, "Hope. We're the spark of hope, and as long as we live, the rebels will live." And so they're heading to a planet that's sided with the Resistance to build up their army again, so they can knock down the First Order. End of movie. End of movie. It's like, really? Really? That's how you're going to end this fucking movie? I sat in my movie seat for a good 5 minutes while the credits were going, just stewing in anger. And I know there's a lot of people on fucking line right now that are like, oh, people who hate the new Star Wars movie just because it's not something they expected. It was unexpected. It broke a lot of tropes of Star Wars movies. And yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that it's trying to break the mold of the prequels in the original trilogy. Get that. Totally okay with that on some regard. Here's the thing, though. The original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and they stated that the new trilogy, all 9 movies, all 9 episodes, would follow the Skywalker lineage. And then after that, they don't know. After that, they don't know. They'd either continue the Skywalker's family following another Skywalker, or it'd just be a fucking random adventure trilogy, like a new story with new characters in its own trilogy, completely unconnected to the Skywalkers, which I'm okay with. I'm completely okay with. Well, you just killed off the fucking Skywalker. You killed off the last. You killed off Luke fucking Skywalker. And I know he's probably going to come back as a Force ghost in Episode 9. I'm quite sure of it. But still, the fuck. Also, they the fucking Kylo Ren had a vision of Rey's parents, and he tells her on after they kill Snoke. Here's the another big spoiler. He tells her, "Oh, your parents were nobodies. They were just junkies trying to get their next hit, and they just traded you off so they could do that, and then they died. They're nobodies. You're a nobody." And so now now everybody's going, well, yep, that's canon now. Rey doesn't have parents, like she's not tied to the Skywalker lineage. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If anybody who's a diehard fan of Star Wars, and anybody who's had an internet connection has seen, Disney has been making it quite clear that Luke is the one that dropped her off on Jakku. Luke is the one that left her on Jakku. And they've made that canon. Luke left Rey on Jakku. I'm kind of suspicious that, her parents were just nobodies, and she's one of the strongest Force users, rivaling Kylo Ren. Luke even says that Kylo has one of the strongest connections to the Force, and it's because of his bloodline, because of Luke's bloodline, that Kylo has that kind of strength, and Kylo has that deep connection to the Force, both the light and dark. And Rey just happens to have this. I have a sneaking suspicion that Rey is either Kylo's distant sister, like long lost sister, or she's Luke's. That's what I think. That's what I absolutely think. Rey even states when she goes to Ahch-To and she walks into the tree and sees the Jedi books, she goes, "I've seen these before. I've seen this planet before." The only person who has gone to this planet in generations is Luke. Maybe Luke brought her with him and thought, no, it's too dangerous, and then left, because he came up to this realization, the Jedi must die, didn't want to teach her in the ways of the Force, dump her on a fucking sand planet. It'd play up in Luke's character with the way the way he acts in Episode 8. To be quite fucking honest, it'd be kind of a fucking stupid thing to be like, yeah, your parents are just, a bunch of junkies, just, abandoned you. Even though Disney keeps saying, like, yeah, Luke dropped off Rey in Jakku. He's the one he's the one in that ship in Force Awakens when she has her the visions. Why would Luke and Anakin's lightsaber call out to her? That's something they never answered. That's another thing a lot of people keep saying about this movie. Like, oh, it answers a lot of questions. No, it doesn't. It doesn't answer why. It doesn't answer who the fuck Snoke is. And I understand people going, oh, well, that's a subversion. He's a Palpatine analog. Yeah, but he's pretty fucking strong in the Force. He has no care. He doesn't care about the Jedi. He doesn't care about the Sith. He knows the Sith are dead. He doesn't call himself a Sith Lord. He wants Luke dead and the Jedi killed because they're hope. Without hope, then the entire galaxy will just be like, well, it's the reason why the Emperor fucking did it. You don't have that spark of hope in the galaxy, which will, quell up rebellions. Rebellions will rise because they're like, hey, the Jedi are still around. Let's find one. They'll help us stop the Empire. If the First Order takes out all the Jedi, there's no way that anybody could stop them. None of them. I still want to know who the fuck Snoke is. It's kind of pointless building him up as a fucking big bad villain in Force Awakens and then just fucking offing him halfway through the fucking movie. Like the fuck's the point? The fuck's the point of even having him? Why not just have Kylo? Because Kylo's taken over as Supreme Leader of the First Order. Why not just say, oh, well, Snoke was the one that did that, and Snoke was the guy who did it, and then Kylo took over? We still haven't seen the Knights of the Ren, or the Knights of Ren. Here's my thing, Sten. When I first saw Snoke walking, when he walks up to Rey or Kylo, he has this weird robotic gait. Like he keeps limping and stuff. So when he got cut in half, I'm like, oh, it's gonna come to find out like his bottom half is robotic and he's still alive. And then I started thinking, what if he's so powerful in the Force that that's not really him per se? What if the reason why Snoke looks like a zombie is because it's an actual corpse and he's just using it as a vessel? Like, they never explain why he's horribly disfigured or why he looks like a zombie. Nothing. Like, and I understand people are going, oh, well, it's a subversion. Yeah, it's a subversion, I guess. But you can't say, oh, well, it's cool that they didn't explain how this one dude was able to rally the remnants of a fucking galactic empire under him to the point that they are all fearful of him. What makes Snoke so charismatic? How does he have the charisma and power behind his words to sway millions like that? What was it that made him keep the First Order from devouring itself? What was it? Why, like, Snoke apparently, like, Luke even infers this. Like, Snoke has been fucking tinkering with Skywalker, like Luke's fucking Jedi Order for at least a decade, because Ben's a kid. And Ben was being fucking seduced by him around that time. So it's been a decade at least, maybe more. We don't know. So that means Snoke's been doing these fucking shady backdoor plans for God knows how long. Snoke's so powerful, he's able to bridge the gap between two Force users spanning across the fucking galaxy and trick them into thinking that it's something between them. He didn't even tell Kylo he was doing that. Like, again, yeah, exactly, Sten. It's a massive misuse of the characters. The best word to sum up Last Jedi is wasted. There was so much fucking potential wasted. Luke was wasted. Leia was wasted. Poe was wasted. Finn, Rose. Rose was pointless. She really was. Rose was practically fucking pointless. Chewie was pointless. R2D2, 3PO were pointless. Fucking Hux is pointless. Snoke is pointless. The only people of actual importance in the movie are Luke, Kylo, and Rey. And the only person that I feel was wasted was Luke. Also, yeah, DJ was massively pointless. Like, we don't know if he lived or died in the massive hyperspace explosion. Phasma was pointless again. Um, yeah, just a lot of pointless characters, just pointless. I don't know how I can't keep repeating my point. it was just it was just pointless, wasted fucking movie. That's the greatest travesty of the movie. Wasted, wasted fucking potential. And the biggest thing, now I know why Mark Hamill and Rian Johnson were at each other's throats the entire production of this film. Mark Hamill despised what Rian Johnson did to Luke, and now I see why. Now I know why. Now I understand. Mark Hamill did not want Luke to be the way he is in the movie, and I agree. That's bad. That's real bad. And people will probably be like, "Oh, well, it's Mark Hamill. He's just an actor. Like he's got to compromise with the director." It's like, no, Mark Hamill's been playing Luke Skywalker for 30 some odd fucking years. He has talked to George Lucas for years. Like, George Lucas talked to Mark Hamill during the production of Star Wars: A New Hope. Fucking Ivan Kirshner was talking to Mark Hamill and telling him, like, this is what Luke's doing and this is how this is going. And George Lucas was also there. And then George Lucas was there for Return of the Jedi. And George Lucas was talking to Mark Hamill and the rest of the original cast about doing episodes fucking 7, 8, 9. He was going to do a sequel trilogy. And he told them what he had planned. Like, Mark Hamill knows the character. He's portrayed the character for many a year. He was in 3 long fucking movies about it. So yeah, when the actor who portrays a beloved character and who knows the character better than the fucking director is saying, "I hate what you were doing with the character. This isn't in his nature." You should listen to him. Like if Ben Affleck or Christian Bale or fucking Chris Evans or fucking Chris Pratt, uh, fucking Robert Downey Jr., if somebody in a Marvel movie or a DC movie or anything was like, this isn't how Tony talks, or Tony Stark would not act this way, the director would be like, yeah, you got a point. Because because Robert Downey Jr. has portrayed that character for many a fucking year. He has lived that character. Same as Mark Hamill. Like you gotta concede when the actor who's portraying the character they've portrayed before states something obvious. Ugh. And so now at the end of this all, we have 2 things. One, the First Order, the rebels are completely fucking destroyed. They're pretty much on the near extinction, near annihilation. There's only like 30 rebels left. Okay. Uh, the Knights of Ren have yet to be shown up. They haven't shown up. Snoke is dead. He was pointless. And Kylo Ren has assumed his role as supreme leader. And he has made himself look like a complete fucking incompetent idiot because he just emotionally demanded that the entire military might of the First Order that was on the planet attack Luke Skywalker, and that failed. Then he challenged him to one-on-one combat and fucking got his ass handed to him, not by the actual person, but a fucking astral projection. Yeah, this is on Rian Johnson. I don't want Rian Johnson near one of my Star Wars movies again. I don't want him writing a Star Wars movie again. Where's Lawrence Kasdan? Lawrence Kasdan needs to fucking do directing and writing of Star Wars. He knows Star Wars. Lawrence Kasdan is the one who did Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi for most of it. Most of the plot of Return of the Jedi and a vast chunk of fuck it, if not the entirety of Empire, is Lawrence Kasdan. Like, Lawrence Kasdan should have wrote 9 and fucking 10, 11, 12, and however many other Star Wars movies. Have the people who actually know the fucking movie or movies, the fucking story, the lore, the fucking feel, the themes. Have those people, have those experts work on the damn shit. Rian Johnson just felt like he was like, I mean, I do know Star Wars a bit, and I've watched Star Wars, but I don't know. I just don't like it, so I'm gonna make it the way I want it to be. I'm gonna make Luke a crabby old hermit that lives on an island in a rock hut, and he sucks off of alien tits. And I'm gonna have him turn into an astral projection, then die. And yeah. Also, I'm gonna just kill off Snoke, cause fuck it. I'm gonna make a casino planet, and I'm gonna add fucking anti-war profiting and animal abuse, anti-animal abuse messages that'll beat people over the heads with them. And I'm gonna make the two factions: the hero faction, the resistance, and the villainous faction, the First Order, highly incompetent to the point that they won't attack or defend their own fucking people. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. This is awful. This is god awful. Why would you do this, Rian Johnson? And I'll state this. I'll state this for the record. I understand the themes. I understand the themes of the movie. I understand the message it's trying to convey, that the world is not black and white. Failure is one of the key themes of the movie. I understand it all. It didn't go over my fucking head. What I expected out of the movie. Hang on. Gotta minimize something. Now, here's what I'll say. I have to go see it again, sadly, Sten. My brother didn't see it, and he really wants to see it. And he's like, I want to see it on your birthday or sometime next week before Christmas. And I'm like, yeah, fine, I'll take you to go see the fucking thing. Because he has to be chaperoned. So I gotta go see it again. Yeah. That's essential. You basically hit the nail on the head. I expected a better told story than this. Like, Force Awakens came out, and I'm like, okay, we got the fandom, and we got the cameos, and we got the we got the references out of the works. We've shaken the cobwebs out of this franchise. It's revitalized it. Like, everything's fresh and new and awesome. Good. Let's see what they do with Luke, Leia, Chewie, R2, C3PO. Like, let's see what they do with the old guard and new. Let's see what they do. And they just dropped the fucking ball. They dropped the ball. They dropped the ball hard. Well, that's the thing now. Like, I don't know. Like, what were they going to do with Leia? I don't know. I don't. Like, I have a feeling that they're going to have her. There's going to be two things they'll do, or two options. Number one, they're going to have her just gone, but she's going planet to planet, or rallying uh, freedom fighters, people that are still part of the New Republic or stand beside the Republic. I see her doing that, and then like in a big blaze of glory, all the planets that that she's been hopping to in the background come to save, and they're like, "We got the message from Leia Organa or General Organa," and bam, they're gonna come in and save the day in the big final fight. Or she just dies of a broken heart, or she fucking just dies of something, or some just off screen. That's what I think. Um, but I will say this: after seeing episode 8, it's made me it's made me realize something about the two new movies, and it actually made me feel something that I didn't think I would say or feel: disinterest for Star Wars, new Star Wars. That is, I'll watch episode 1 and 3. Episode 2 is just a fucking episode 2 is like being dragged on fucking shards of glass. I'll see 1 and 2. I'll see 1 and 3 though. Like they're meh in my books. They're not horrible or terror bad. Even with Jar Jar Binks in the first movie, I can zone him out and appreciate the things that they were trying to do in the first episode. Episodes 4, 5, and 6, especially 5 and 6, are it's yeah, 5 and 6 are I would consider almost perfect movies, especially 5. 6 is a close one. Like, yeah, they have the whole band playing and shit, and they have the fucking Ewoks, but for the most part, that movie is damn well perfect or close to it. And I know people are going to be like, it's a Star Wars movie. It can't be that good. You're trying to say it's better than it's almost or on par with Citizen Kane. Yeah, Citizen Kane sucks. It does. Get over it. The only reason why people fucking praise it is because the cinematography, the lighting, and all the like all the technical shit, all the technical aspects of Citizen Kane is what it gets its praise from. Story wise, episodes 5 and 6 are phenomenal movies, story wise. Like, what are we going to do about Kylo? What are we going to do about Rey? Is Kylo going to die in the next movie? Is Rey going to turn? Like, what's going to happen? Is there going to be an armistice where the New Republic and the First Order divide the galaxy in half and there's a Cold War? What is, like, they've already stated they already have another trilogy set up. 10 through 12's already being planned. Is it going to follow Rey and Finn and Poe and BB-8? Like, what are they going to do? And I think one of the biggest gripes, one of the biggest glaring things I think they should have done in this movie is they should have jumped a few years. They should have jumped a few years into the future, like they do with every fucking movie in Star Wars. There are no Star Wars movies where it takes place minutes to hours after the previous movie. It's always been a couple years, if not more. Like you could have, like episode 8 could have taken place 2 years after the first movie. That would have made sense because episode 8 comes out 2 years after Force Awakens. So you could just be like, okay, well, after 2 years after episode 7, Force Awakens, Last Jedi takes place. And then 2 years after Last Jedi, this happens. And you could just open up with Rey training with Luke. You could show like the whole fucking, oh, I'm a grumpy old hermit and I don't want to train you. But then you can showcase like time has happened. Like that's what happened 2 years ago. Like we're catching up to what she did when she handed in the lightsaber. Then now she's been training with him for 2 years. Show some actual training. Don't go with the whole Luke only being trained for a few days or a few weeks or months. Don't pull that shit. Show like him actually fully training her so that she is the last Jedi. That she has all this training so that she can teach a fucking new generation. Have Finn wake up naturally instead of like a couple hours after getting his fucking spine cut. Like it's just stupid. It really is. It's bad. God, it's awful. Fuck me, it's terrible bad. All right. Well, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna have some more something else to drink, and yeah.